And again and again. Do the Republicans take from this, as they seem to, that this tactic of trying to hold the government hostage to get their way isn't going to work? The Rush Limbaugh, Fox News kind of echo chamber where conservatives think that they're doing the right thing, that everybody supports them, when in fact it turns out in this case that it's not the case. Those factors are still there. Will there be change in the elections next year? Will Republicans lose? That's the kind of thing that has to happen to really change the political dynamic.
See, look, I don't want to spend a lot of time deeply analyzing this, but that's typical. Even though this guy's a former London bureau chief, this is typical analysis you get from inside the Beltway, which is totally absent any recognition of other reality. I mean, what is inside the Beltway? There is a reality. It's theirs, but it is far removed from ours. And they exist on templates and narratives, and that is the Republicans are losing and are almost out of existence, and it's because of Ted Cruz and Rush Limbaugh and so forth, and they look at it strictly poll by poll, horse race by horse race. Did Obama win? Oh, my God, did Obama win? Oh, I hope Obama won. That's the only thing that matters to them. But throughout all of this, I honestly said I could make the case that Republicans are winning this on matters of substance. Winning this on matters of policy. And I don't know if Fox News and me are an echo chamber, what is the drive-by media? I think they're the Grand Canyon of echo chambers. These people, this is another thing. So me and Fox News, we're echo chambers? What? Now, what are they? They're mind-numbed robots. They're actually puppets. Somebody's yanking their strings each and every day. They're not independent actors at all. They're not independent thinkers. They're not independently curious. They're all programmed from journalism school all the way through to the casket. They're purely programmed. There's no critical thinking, no independent thinking. There's no curiosity. And as such, they're not journalists. They're hacks. They're pure party hacks. But there are exceptions. Now, this is a perfect time to tell you about this Peter Beinart piece in the Daily Beast. Why the shutdown is a Republican victory. Listen carefully to this. I'm going to excerpt parts of this. And here's the subhead of the story. Thanks to the shutdown, the press and the public can't stand the Republicans, but Republican ideological influence is increasing. Wait a minute, how can that be? I mean, Ted Cruz is hated. Mike Lee is hated. I mean, there are two prominent conservative columnists today who write essentially the same piece. And you know what it is? If I can summarize it, it's okay, kids, meaning Cruz and Lee and those who supported him. Okay, you better not do this again. You better not break this window again, or there's going to be a real price to pay. Okay, you've had your fun. You went into fantasy land, but you better not ever do it again. We are not going to commit suicide with you. This is the haughty, know-it-all, snarky, arrogant condescension from the right, from so-called conservative columnists on the right, who themselves are prisoners of the inside the Beltway establishment thinking. And more, in order to rank in inside the Beltway thinking, you have to believe the Republicans are doofuses, stupid, blowing it every time they do something, making grand mistakes. That gets you in the club. And more of our so-called conservative media people have walked right in the door and filled out the membership form. But there is another reality. Republican ideological influence is increasing. Now, I can imagine somebody, come on, Rush, don't lie to us. Don't try to falsely buck us up. I'm not. This guy happens to write what I have been trying to say the past couple of weeks. Here's how he starts. The news from Washington's all about Obama's impending triumph in the government shutdown debt ceiling standoff. Boehner blinks, declared recent headline in the Washington Post. Republicans are working out the terms of their surrender, said ABC's Jonathan Karl. And then Beinart writes, if this is Republican surrender, I hope I never see Republican victory. This guy is not a Republican. He's not a conservative. He's card-carrying, Fareed Zacharias GPS-type liberal. He writes here, to understand how upside down the current media analysis is, you have to go back a couple of years. In 2011, with Republicans threatening to provoke a debt default, President Obama signed the Budget Control Act of 2011. The Budget Control, this is the sequester, the Budget Control Act of 2011 cut government spending by $917 billion over 10 years. The agreement also created a congressional super committee charged with finding additional cuts. And if that committee failed to find those additional cuts, automatic cuts totaling $1.2 trillion over 10 years would kick in at the end of 2012 via a process called sequestration. So Beinart simply reminding everybody of actual American history. And by the way, this deal includes another super committee charged with doing the same thing. And these committees never sit. They don't find anything. This committee that was set up in the Budget Control Act of 2011, if you'll recall, we had another crisis. They failed to come to an agreement, and the sequester kicked in, and we're living under its terms today. And this is what Beinart is essentially calling a Republican victory. Now, just hold your thought. No, I will hold my thought. You keep your attention right at that. I'll come back and complete and fully explain this right after this.